Grenade by Alan Gratz, Part 2, pages 226 through 230. Lion Dogs. Hideki hadn't walked too far when he found Kimiko, Masako, and the children all hiding behind an exploded Japanese truck. To their left, Hideki could hear the roar of the sea. To their right, a steep rock cliff rose like teeth from the ground. "Sorry you had to wait for me," Hideki said. "We didn't have a choice," Masako said. She nodded for Hideki to follow her, and together the two of them crawled through the mud to a bend in the road. Just beyond them was an American camp. Someone, either the Americans or the Japanese before them, had cut down trees so that they fell across the road, and the soldiers guarding the camp stood behind the log barricade facing south. Behind them, Hideki could see other soldiers at a cook fire they'd sheltered from the rain. Hideki made a frame with his fingers. There were at least 10 American soldiers, including 2 guards, so close Hideki could hit them with a rock. Or a grenade. The American camp couldn't have been more than a few dozen meters from the Japanese machine gun nest Hideki had just left. It was almost dawn, and as soon as the sun rose, these American soldiers would advance south and run right into the young Japanese soldiers. They would fight, and the Americans would win. They always won. Eventually. But in the meantime, Hideki and the others would be caught in the crossfire. They had to get past the Americans before that happened. Hideki nodded for Masako to turn around, and together they returned to where Kimiko and the children waited. "Well?" Kimiko asked. "The Americans are taking up the whole road," Hideki explained. "There's no way to sneak by without them seeing us." "What if we went out in the water and swam around them?" Kimiko suggested. Hideki shook his head. "If they see us in the water, they'll think we're a Japanese attack force and start shooting at us." "Do you still have that grenade?" Masako asked. "Yes," Hideki said, "but I can't kill them all with one grenade. There's too many of them." "We don't have to kill them all," Masako said. "Just a few of them. We throw it from the ocean side to make them think the Japanese army is attacking from the beach. While they're shooting at shadows, we run behind them along the road. Then we're safe." Hideki pulled the grenade out of his pocket, weighing it in his hand as he walked off by himself. Masako's plan was dangerous, but it could work. He'd seen the Americans when they were angry. They were like Shisha. Lion dogs. When they got something in their teeth, they shook it until it was dead. They would destroy the beach with machine guns and mortars and grenades, and then go down there with rifles and bayonets to make sure there wasn't anyone left. That's when Hideki and the others could slip on by. Kimiko joined Hideki, leaving Masako with the children. "What are you thinking, Hideki?" his sister asked him quietly. Hideki tried to put it into words, the way he hadn't been able to when Masako wanted him to use his grenade on the mother of all bombs. The way he'd felt when he decided not to use his grenade on the Japanese soldiers in the machine gun nest. "I'm thinking that this isn't our fight," Hideki told her. "It's not between Okinawa and America, or Okinawa and Japan. It's between America and Japan. Why can't we just let them duke it out?" "Because Okinawa is caught in the middle, just like we are," Kimiko said. "All this time, people kept telling me, 'This is your island, you should be defending it,'" Hideki said. "But I wasn't defending it. I was fighting for somebody else's side while they both destroyed my home. And I'm tired of it. I want to be on Okinawa's side for once." "So use the grenade on the Americans to save some Okinawans," Kimiko told him. Kimiko had a point. If he used the grenade here and now, he could lead them all to safety. Masako, the children, Kimiko. That's what he'd really promised his father after all, wasn't it? Not just to find his sister, but to keep what was left of his family together. To live. And sometimes you had to fight to live. Maybe he needed to fight to save Okinawa too. The thought of fighting made Hideki remember all the awful things he'd seen each side do to each other. The awful things both sides had done to Okinawans in the name of war. "No," Hideki said. "No. If we attack them, we're their enemy. When they're not under attack, when they're not afraid, The Americans are human beings. They actually helped me, gave me medicine, sewed up my head. It's the same with the Japanese. The photographer, my principal, my teachers, they were nice to me before the Americans came. That machine gun nest back there, it didn't have two monsters in it. It had two human beings. But if I threw this grenade at them, they would have turned into monsters, just like these Americans. They'll become monsters that breathe fire and bullets. They're not at war with Okinawa, they're at war with Japan. But if I throw this grenade at them, they'll be at war with Okinawa too. Okinawa is Japan, Kimiko said. Are we? Hideki asked. Kimiko was quiet for a time, then said, "We have to do something, Hideki." Hideki stared at the grenade in his hand. If he didn't use his last grenade here and now, when would he ever use it? And that's when he knew what he had to do.